Tonight is the last Wednesday of January. In case you didn't notice, it's why we're doing the birthday wheel, it's why we do the check-in wheel, and for 2026, it will be the day we are taking our Speed the Light collection, which we'll get to in just a moment. If you don't know what Speed the Light is, I don't know how, because we've been talking about it nonstop for a few weeks now, but Speed the Light is an organization. Donate your car, perfect. Speed the Light is an organization that helps missionaries take the gospel all over the world, because I don't know about you guys, but has anyone noticed there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that isn't great? Some of you have noticed. I mean, there's things in our own lives, there's things in our communities, or just worldwide. Like there's 700 million people living in extreme poverty. 1 in 10 people worldwide do not have enough food to live a healthy life. You can throw that first slide up. Nearly 1 child dies every 2 minutes from diseases linked to unsafe water and poor sanitation. So that's 1 child every 2 minutes simply because they don't have access to clean water. 50 million people living in slavery. Gun violence is on the rise, right? We can go on and on about the things that are wrong with the world. 40% of the population lives in unreached people groups without access to the gospel. Millions will be born, live, and die, never hearing the name of Jesus in any meaningful way. And we can go on and we can focus on the negatives, and it gets depressing. How many of you guys are depressed already? You're like, man, youth group, great. Go get depressed, go home, cry myself to sleep. But the reality is, there's good news. The reality is, despite all the bad that is going on, God is still good. God is still doing great things all around the world. There are loving, caring people all over the world who are following Jesus and who are making a difference, who are changing lives. But if you're like me, when you see the size of the task before us, it can be overwhelming. All right, let's stop throwing stuff up here. It can be overwhelming, and it can leave us feeling like man, what kind of difference can I even make? What can I even do? And that's actually what I want to talk to you guys about today. The title of this message is, What Can I Do? Ask the person next to you, what can I do? Ask the person on the other side of you, what can you do? There's a story in the Gospels where Jesus' disciples are asking this exact question. We actually read it not too long ago, right? The feeding of the 5,000. The disciples were faced with an impossible task. Jesus had asked them to feed crowds of thousands of his hungry followers, but they had no food, they had no time, and they had no money. And they're wondering, what can I even do? What can we even do to tackle a problem of this size? Right? Have you ever been asked to do something and your man just like, there's no way I can do that. That's insurmountable. And that's where the disciples are at. But in John 6, verse 8, we read this. Then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. There's a young boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd? So Andrew had found this kid who has like these 5 McFish fillet sandwiches, and Andrew's like, I mean, this is what we got, but what can this do? And this kid said, hey, like this is all I got is these 5 McFish fillets, or however, is that what they're called, right? McFillets, McFish. Whatever, Noah, you know what I meant. So anyway, he said, this is all I got. But notice, he didn't just sit on the sidelines. He wasn't sitting there like, man, there's 5,000 people here. I only have enough for me, so I better, keep this safe. I better hide this. He wasn't saying like, man, I don't even know how to address that, so I'm not even going to think about it. He didn't say, man, there's nothing I can do. Like, I feel bad for them. He didn't sit on the sidelines. He wasn't depressed about the issue. He decided, you know what? I'm going to take action. He didn't focus on the issue. He focused on, you know what? This may be all I can do, but you know what? It's what I can do. So he brought what little he had to Jesus, And how many of you know the rest of the story? Jesus does a lot with that little that he brought. Jesus multiplied it so that over 5,000 people were fed with these 5 pieces of bread and 2 fish. That's what this kid could do. What can you do? We can do the same thing as this kid. The only thing that actually any of us can do, we bring what we have to Jesus and we let him do the rest. And here's the main idea for today. When I bring my little to Jesus, he can do a lot. Let's say that together on the count of 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3. When I bring my little to Jesus, he can do a lot. Because here's the thing. God isn't coming down and being like, Silas, I need you to save the world. Go do it, all right? No pressure. No, sit down. Anyway, right? God's not asking you to save the world. He isn't saying, hey, you got to fix your family. He isn't saying, hey, it's up to you. Make sure all your friends get saved and make good choices. He isn't saying, hey, all the pressure's on you. You got to change your school. He isn't asking you to solve every problem. But he is asking us to do what we can do. He's asking us to be obedient to what God says and to be faithful with what you have. Be obedient with what God says and to be faithful with what you have. What does it look like to be obedient to what God says? Well, we know what God asks of us. Jesus said it this way in Matthew 22, verse 37. Jesus said, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. What does all mean? How much? It means all, everything, right? Exactly. This is the first and greatest commandment. And a second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. So Jesus says, here's what it means to be obedient is to love God and love others. That's what it means to follow God. So we have to be obedient with what God says and faithful with what we have. So what do we be faithful with? What do we have? Well, we be faithful with our time. We be faithful with our talent. We be faithful with our treasure. And we be faithful with our tribe. And we're going to explain these. Tribe. Yeah, I had to make them all T's so that it looked really cool. So I thought for a long time. And by tribe, I mean the people in your life. See, people in your life, that's a P. That wouldn't have worked. So, yeah, see, tribe. Yeah, dude, definitely. That's your word of the week. Use tribe like 4 times every day for the rest of this week. But anyway, so we have to be faithful with these things that God has given us, starting with our tribe, the people in your life. Who has God placed in your life? Spoiler alert, go ahead, look around. Some of them are in this room, right? Who are your friends? Who is your family? Who are your classmates? Some of you are homeschooled and all 3 of those are still the same people, right? But, right, who are your coworkers? If you have a family business, still same people, but, right? Who are the people that are your neighbors? Who are the people that you interact with day in and day out? Because here's the thing. We believe God is sovereign, which is a big, complicated word that means God is in control. We believe that God caused each one of us to be born at the time and place where we are, which means the people in our lives are not accidents. God has placed them there on purpose, for a purpose, so that we can impact them for Him. Think about that. What if we started treating everyone like it wasn't just happenstance, it wasn't just chance that we're in each other's lives, it's not just a seating chart, it's not just because, we ride the same bus. What if we started treating everyone like, man, God has placed you in my life so that I can help you know Him better and so that you can help me as well? Are we doing that? How can we better care for our tribe? How can we help our tribe? Are we praying for them? Are we telling them about Jesus? A lot of you over the past year have made the commitment to be a campus missionary, which we've talked about that at different events. And a campus missionary is simply someone who says, you know what? I, with God's help, am going to reach my school for Jesus. I'm going to bring the gospel to my school. And some of you have tried to start Bible clubs. And unfortunately, over the past 2 years, there's been many no's, right? You've gone to the principal, you've presented. Some of you have said, hey, I want to start this Bible club. And the principal said, hey, we're not doing any more clubs right now, right? And those doors have kind of been shut, which is discouraging. But I just want to encourage all of you guys right now, whether you've made the commitment to be a campus missionary or not, that you don't need a principal's permission to reach your school for Jesus. I'm not saying you have to roll in and be disrespectful, but you know what? If they say, hey, we're not going to start any new clubs, you say, okay, that's fine. They can't stop you from inviting people to hang out a half hour before school and share a devotional, hanging out a half hour after. They can't stop you from praying at your lunch table. They can't stop you from maybe cracking open a Bible at your study hall time. Whatever it is, be creative. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you wisdom. Ask Him to give you favor, but continue. Don't give up just because one door shut. Continue. And if you want help, if you want ideas, I would be happy to talk about that. But let's continue. How can I reach the people in my school? You start asking your teammates on sports, hey, I want to get together and just pray for our team, pray for our safety, 15 minutes before. There are stories after stories of teenagers who have stepped out with the little they could do. And what does Jesus do? Jesus does a lot. So be faithful with your tribe. Be faithful with your talents, with your skills, with your abilities. What are the things you're good at? What are the things you enjoy doing? What has God given you the ability to do? Is it athletics? Is it music? Is it art? Is it, maybe you're good at building things? Is it mechanical stuff? Is it, maybe you're a really good speaker? Maybe you're a good writer? Whatever it is, how are you using the talents that God has given you? How are you being faithful with that, to use that for God's glory and to reach others? And we're actually going to talk more about talents in a little bit, but for right now, what has God given you the capability to do that you can use for Him, and how are you using it? And if you're not, how can you start? So be faithful with your tribe, be faithful with your talent, be faithful with your treasure, with your money and resources. The Bible tells us time and time again throughout Proverbs and in the apostles' letters to have a good work ethic. That God has given us skills to work, to provide service for others, and to earn a living by doing it. And it also tells us to be generous with the money we earn, the same way God is a generous God. So how are you being of service? What resources do you have? How are you using them to build God's kingdom? This is what Speed the Light is all about, and many of you have made a commitment to Speed the Light. So what are you doing to reach that goal that you've prayed and said, God, I want to help raise X amount for the Speed the Light collection this year? What are you doing? Are you working? Are you setting aside money? Are you, I was going to say washing cars, but this isn't the weather. But you can definitely snow, you can plow, you can definitely shovel out cars, right? And then wash them in the spring, right? You be creative. What are you doing? And how are you honoring God with your treasure? And finally, we got to be faithful with our time, right? You got 60 seconds a minute, you got 60 minutes an hour, you got 24 hours a day, you got 7 days a week. How are you honoring God with your time? Because we each only have 24 hours, 7 days. No one gets any more, but no one gets any less either. Are we using that time to be obedient to God? Are we using that time wisely, or are we only using it for our own pleasures, for our own benefits, for our own comfort? Are we using it to read the Bible, to spend time with God, to pray? Are we using that time to develop and practice those talents and skills? Because see, it's not enough just for God to have given you a musical ability or an athletic ability or a writing ability. Are you practicing? Are you improving? Are you getting better with that? Are we using our time to earn and to help others with our treasure? Are we using our time to invest in our tribe? Because we're all called to be obedient and faithful with what God has given us. And it doesn't matter how much or how little each of these things we have. You may be like, man, I don't have any free time. Or you may be like, man, I have too much free time. Maybe you're like, I have so many things that I'm good at. Or you're like, man, I don't know yet what abilities God has given me. Maybe you have access to money and resources, or maybe not so much. Maybe you have influence with tons of people, or maybe only a handful. Let me just tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much we have. What matters is what are we doing with what we have. Because we said when we bring our little to Jesus, he can do a lot. Jesus says in Luke 16:10, if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, if you are lazy in little things, if you are complacent in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. Jesus tells a story, it's called the parable of the talents, where, paraphrased, there's this rich businessman, and he's about to go away on a long trip, and he represents God and Jesus coming back, but he's about to go away, and so he calls 3 of his employees in and sits them down, and goes to one employee, and he says, hey, Daxton, here's 5 gold bags, go out, use that money, invest it, earn more. He comes to Jameson and says, here's 2 gold bags, go out and earn more. He comes to Logan and says, here's 1 bag, go out and earn more. And then he goes away, time passes, he comes back, he calls the 3 employees back in, and to the one that has 5, he's like, all right, what'd you do with it? And he says, I did this, I earned 5 more bags. And the businessman's like, yes, that's great, well done. He calls in the guy with 2 bags. He says, what'd you do? He says, I put it to work, I earned 2 more. The master says, that's great, well done. He calls in the guy who only had 1 bag, and he says, all right, what'd you do with it? And the guy says, nothing. I was afraid. I was lazy. I didn't feel like it, right? Not only did he not earn anything, but he only had what he was originally given. He didn't even try. He didn't even step out. He didn't even put it to use. Notice, with the 2 first guys, in the story, God doesn't just say, like, oh, you did 5, you did a great job. You did 2, you did a good job. No, he's just as pleased with the one who did 5 as he is with the one who did 2. Because it wasn't about the amount. It was about that they used what he gave them. But to the one who didn't use it, that is the one he was displeased with. And he ends the story in Matthew 25:29, saying, to those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. It doesn't matter what we have. What matters is how are we using what we have. And then the promise here is that when we are faithful with whatever we have, God promises to give us more. So what can I do? Well, I can bring my little to Jesus, and he can do a lot. I can be obedient with what God says and faithful with what I have, with my time, my talent, my treasure, and my tribe. And now we're going to look at some practical ways we can actually be faithful with our talents. So I'm going to invite Hannah to come on up, and we're going to dialogue a little bit about what fine arts is. And while she's on her way up, check out this video. You could turn it up a little bit. Woo! So Hannah, what was that? What did we just watch?
So that was my guitar solo for Fine Arts for 2019. It does. There we are, 2019. That was that year.
Nice. And you actually won out of the entire nation that year, right?
I did. I won first place.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, I was very happy.
Well, you can see why, and you can watch the full song on YouTube. I just clipped that ending part because that's where all the really fast, impressive stuff was. So,
Yeah.
So we're talking. Oh, there go my notes. So we're talking about fine arts. What is fine arts?
So Fine Arts it's something that the AG does, AG Youth Ministries, and it's just a way for students to be able to, for you guys, to be able to discover what your talents are, then to be able to kind of work on those talents, and then also be able to take those talents and put them into ministry or put them into use.
Nice. And so why do you personally love fine arts?
I love fine arts. Anybody that knows me and hears about fine arts, I love fine arts. I loved fine arts because it helped me to discover what I was good at. Like, I knew I could play guitar, but fine arts took me to a much greater level in guitar. I forgot about that one right there. Everybody's distracted by the pictures.
Yeah, it's a pretty old picture.
That is a very old Doug Sayers. Anyway, yeah, so for me, it took me to levels in my guitar and also in singing that I never would have gotten without fine arts. Maybe we should let these pictures go through first.
Yeah, no one's
I know,
paying attention.
that's why I was like, nobody paid attention, so let's look at the pictures.
I think there's one more old one.
I think this might have been my first or my second year in fine arts.
So this is your first year. This is my last year in fine
Okay.
arts. All right, we're back to the beginning, so they'll pay attention to you now.
Okay, so now we're back to the beginning. All right, so why do I love fine arts? I love fine arts because for me, it really helped me to discover what I was good at and helped me to get better because I'm very competitive, and so the desire to want to win pushed me to get better and to want to do better every single year, and I would not be the guitar player or the singer that I am today had it not been for fine arts in my life.
Awesome. And so besides guitar, you did a few other categories too, right?
Yes. So I did guitar solo, and then I did vocal solo a couple of years. I did photography, and then I also did vocal ensemble, which was like a group of 5 of us, I think it was, singing. And then I also did a duet with my sister a couple times, and then I was also part of a Christian band that the church did.
Wow, so you did quite a few. And there's actually 80 categories you can enter. A lot of them musical, photography one, there's digital design. So there's really there's writing, there's kind of really something, drumming too, but also drama. Yeah. So which ones did you advance in?
So I went on in photography every year. In guitar, I think I made it 5 out of the 6 years that I participated. And then I made it 1 time with singing, my senior year.
Gotcha. And so why should these students right here do fine arts?
That's a wonderful question. I think every single one of you should do fine arts. I think it's great because, like I said, it helped me to discover what I was good at, and then it helped me to want to get better at that. So that's why I would encourage you guys, because you might be like, what in the world can I do? But there's like literally 80 categories that you can, so there's something that you can do. You can take a picture and you can enter it in. Like, you might find something that you're actually really good at that you didn't know you were until you actually tried it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because it doesn't even necessarily have to be something where you're like, man, I'm really good at this already. But if there's something on that list that interests you, it might be a great way to start and say, hey, how can I do this?
I had to tell you a quick testimony from this, because, so for me, the first year that I entered vocal solo, the vocal solo division, I think I was 13 maybe. I did not pay, at that point there was 3 levels. There was a sectional level, the district level, and then the national level. I didn't make it past the sectional level. I sang off key. It did not go well, and it almost discouraged me because I was like, oh, that's embarrassing, I didn't make it. But the next year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it again. And so I did it again the next year, and then finally in my senior year, I made it to the national level with my singing. So I didn't give up, I continued pushing even though I was embarrassed that I didn't make it the first year. So it's like, sometimes you might not be great at it to start, but if you continue practicing, continue pushing, you can get better.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so actually, while you're interning in our youth ministry, you're going to be kind of taking on fine arts, and so you're going to be available to answer questions and kind of help them with their fine arts projects. So why don't you, if you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I am here as a resource for you guys. If you have questions about fine arts, if you have maybe questions later about fine arts, ask me right after. I'm here to answer questions. I'm also going to do my best to make myself available on Wednesday nights. If you guys want to come in, I think it was from 6 to 6:30 we were saying. If you want to come in, you're like, hey, I want to practice my vocal solo with somebody and I want some pointers, or I want somebody to look at my picture, or read my short story. I'm here to help you with that. I might not be the best at every category. I'm definitely not. But I will be here to help you guys answer questions, just be somebody to bounce ideas off of.
All right. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
I think that's it.
All right.
Covered
Perfect.
it all.
Give it up for Hannah. Whoa, that was the style, all right? Justin Bieber was huge. That was the move, all right? That is a handsome young man, all right? So, no, I will never do that again. But, all right. Well, anyway, as we said, it is our Speed the Light night, so we are going to play our Speed the Light game, Where in the World? So I'm going to invite Evan to come on up and lead that game for us, and there is a candy prize.
Freshness not guaranteed. So we've played this game before, but for those that are new, we're going to go through 3 facts at a time, and we're going to pause to try and guess the country. And of course, if you guess the country and you're the first one, you get this not guaranteed fresh Swedish fish bag. So if we want to roll this, the first one we got is, and we'll keep question or answers to the country until I pause after the 3rd fact. So the main language of this country is Spanish. There's no slide for that one. Okay. Next fact. They like to play soccer or football. There's a fact. Okay. Traditional foods include tapado, a stew with meat, veggies, and coconut milk. They also have red bananas, which have a raspberry banana flavor. This country is also where the term Banana Republic originated from. So let's pause and see if anyone can get that one. I didn't hear her. Next. Yes, she got it. We have to kill some time, so do you have another country? You did say Honduras, right? Okay, probably should have verified that, but you are from Honduras, I take it? Been there for vacation? Now, how did you know that? Are you just smart? Coconut would have like been to India? All right, well, okay. We'll have some fun. Forget she even said it. Yeah. This country lies along the Caribbean Sea. It has mountains, beaches, and forests. Very nice. Lots of colorful birds live there. It's like that Toucan Sam is from there, it looks like. This country has exotic animals like ocelots, anteaters, sloths, and kinkajous.
That guy on the left is freaking me out a little bit.
Sloth is my favorite animal. The country's already guessed, Kira. Yes. Question about the facts? No. Coffee beans grow in the mountains. The higher up, the better the coffee. I didn't know that. So Hazleton must have some pretty decent coffee then. Most people that live there are farmers. Some work on large banana or pineapple plantations. Yes, the Hawaiian country. Yep. The country is filled with ancient Mayan temples. Israel, yeah. Mexico. We already did guess it, but you can keep guessing. Okay, so October is Dia de la Raza, Day of the Race, and people dress up in traditional clothing. Native to the country, I take it. Many people in this country are very poor, and some build homes out of tin scraps. Some live in shack villages along the rivers. Okay. That's why it's a mission field. About half of the people in this country are under 16. Wow. Many wind up living in the streets. Street kids often end up in gangs. The gangs are so dangerous that police won't go in their neighborhoods. That's definitely a mission field for sure. Okay, keep going. So fish rain, a rare phenomenon where small fish reportedly fall from the sky during heavy storms in the town of Yoro. Is this a true fact? A rare phenomenon. Fish rain. Is there? Oh, there is a picture. That sounds like GPT. All right, and this country's flag, if we're going to keep going, how many would have gotten Honduras from that alone? Okay. Finally, here is the country and where it's located. So, if you know the globe, how many want to guess what this country is? All right, you got it, Honduras. Good job.
Wow. Well, good job, because I didn't think anyone was going to get it. I'm like, man, none of these really give it away, but apparently the food does, so. Yo, it actually rains fish. Apparently it is a thing that happens in like 3 places in the world. It happens here, it happens in here in Honduras. And then apparently it can also happen in Australia. They think it's like when a tornado happens like over the ocean, it like picks up the fish and just, maybe. All right. But anyway, so this is Honduras, and we do have Assembly of God missionaries there. We do support them through Speed the Light, because as we saw, 64% of the population's below the poverty line. Only 56% of kids actually attend school. Some of you are like, I wish I didn't have to attend school, right? But millions face food insecurity. One of the highest murder rates of any Latin American country. And there's a lot of gang violence. The famous or infamous MS-13 gang is from there. There's estimated to be some 40,000 gang members. Yeah, dude, definitely. Many children are exposed to violence, and although 27 to 44% of the people there would claim Christianity, it's estimated that, although most would claim Christianity, it's estimated that only 27 to 44% are actually practicing in their faith. And because what happens in a lot of South American countries is the first missionaries to get there were Catholic priests, and that's not the problem. The problem was the Catholic priests would come and they would start talking about Jesus, but all of these tribes, actual tribes, had their own individual shamanisms and different pagan religions and witchcraft and all this stuff. And when Christianity came, they didn't say, all right, we'll follow Christianity now. They said, all right, we'll add Christianity to what we're doing. So even though they would say they're Christians, in South America, and we saw this, kind of firsthand in Colombia, those of us who went to Colombia, there's this really kind of mixed religion where it's called Christian, but then it includes things so far bizarre that you would never even know it.
Well, that's not Christian at all.
Well, exactly, but they would say it is. But they're wrong. So anyway, that is a little bit about Honduras, but let me show you a video of some actual stuff that Speed the Light is doing in Honduras.
We feel really incredibly privileged to have the Speed the Light vehicle that we have. The ministry that the National Church has asked me to do here has taken me to all corners of this country. If I had to use public transportation to get to these places, it would take 3 to 4 times as long. I can go where they need me. I can carry things with me. And it's just been such an incredible blessing for us to have a Speed the Light vehicle. And we feel that blessing and that privilege every day.
So yeah, so that's an actual missionary, an actual vehicle that was bought with money through Speed the Light, through teenagers all around the country giving to Speed the Light. So if you brought your Speed the Light offering tonight, we're going to pass this bucket in a second. If you didn't, you can always bring it next Wednesday or Sunday or whenever. But for those of you who made goals, I just encourage you to continue to pray, God, how would you empower me to make a difference in the lives of real people all around the world? So while we pass this bucket, go ahead and watch this other video. All right, hit reload. See if it... Oh. All right, we're not going to watch that video. Just pass the bucket. Go to the 2015 Speed the Light slide. So in 2015, this youth group, which I was away at Bible school, so I wasn't even here. I think Hannah's probably on that stage somewhere. This youth group raised $21,000 for Speed the Light, and they gave us this globe to commemorate it. And so that's awesome. And again, it's not about how much, as we said. It's about what did we do with what we have? And so I show this not to say, oh man, like those guys are awesome, but they're awesome. But it's to say, man, this is possible. And our goal this year that you guys set is 5,000. So I know that we can knock it out of the park. So I encourage you guys to continue to give, to continue to be faithful in that. But we're going to go ahead and jump to some small groups. So in this corner over here, 11th to 12th grade guys, 7th to 8th grade guys over there, 9th to 10th grade guys. And yeah, just kind of group up with your groups and then find a spot that works for you. 11 to 12th grade girls, you can go where you normally go.